With more and more events going virtual these days, you might be wondering, how do sponsors fit into this world of virtual running? After all, one of the huge benefits for sponsors is having that race day visibility at the starting line and the finish line. So what happens when the start-finish line is wherever the participant happens to be? In this video, we're going to look at some of the best ideas we've seen so far for sponsor success in a virtual race.
The running community is made up of tens of thousands of these micro communities, and all these micro communities interact. And so we thought there were opportunities in this market to build some cool technology.
Now, to understand the challenges that virtual races present to sponsors and races that depend on those sponsors, it's good to know the role of sponsors in traditional events. First of all, many races rely more on sponsors for revenue than they do on registrations. Secondly, sponsors provide connections between a race and the community it serves. Thirdly, in-kind sponsors offer perks and swag for participants that a race may not otherwise be able to offer. For instance, food, live music, tables and chairs, tents, beer gardens, anything like that. And in return, the sponsor is looking for exposure, traffic, either in-person traffic or online traffic, and of course, goodwill in their community. So what are some of the challenges to this that are brought about by virtual races? Well, in general, the usual playbook of sponsor opportunities, a table at the expo, signage on the course, free bananas on race day, etc., those things aren't logical for virtual events. Now, specific to the current situation with coronavirus, an added challenge is that many sponsors, like many races, are facing shortfalls in revenue. So, what can races and sponsors do to carry on a successful relationship even with all of those challenges? For that answer, we're going to check in with our marketing expert, Johanna Good. Hey, Johanna.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into this. Let's say I have a race and I'm going virtual. What is the best type of sponsorship that I should try to find for my race?
Yeah, I mean, the best sponsorships are always going to be those that are really partnerships, where you have kind of a mutual understanding of the benefits and goals of the relationship. More than ever, those relationships are going to be really important. So the very first thing that you want to do this year is going to be to reach out to your sponsors and just have a conversation with them about what the year looks like.
Now, my guess is that you will want to contact them over the phone with a call and not just an email, right?
Phone call is always best. An email can be good for a quick check-in, but you really want to have a conversation with the sponsor about what you guys can do that will be both beneficial to them and to you this year.
And what kind of things do you recommend I talk to them about when I reach out?
Yeah, there's really a few things that you can do to kick off the conversation. I think first, it's really important just to ask them how they're doing, both personally and professionally. It can be a good way to show a little bit of respect. And it's also just going to give you some insight into the status of their business right now and what you can expect for the upcoming year. Second, don't make it all or nothing. Make sure you have a range of sponsorship options so that a sponsor who can't perhaps keep the same commitment level that they had last year is still able to stay involved and can contribute in some way. And third, I would say, ask them if there's anything that you can do that will help their business. There could be sponsorship arrangements like a coupon for a takeout restaurant where they're providing something of value to your participants in the form of discounted food, and yet you are helping their business as well by giving them a little bit more traffic, and that can be a really good kind of relationship for everyone. I think it's really just important that you never throw away a sponsor entirely because they aren't able to participate at their normal level this year. Two things that we've seen that kind of help keep sponsors in the fold. One is to keep long-term sponsors up on your website, even if they aren't able to financially contribute this year. It's a little bit of a sign of goodwill and thank you for years of support, and also gives them a bit of a nudge to come back when they are financially able to. The other is to create creative agreements that have incentives for things like registrations and donations that are driven by your sponsor's network, instead of only agreements for cash. If you have a sponsor who wants to stay involved but is short on cash, one thing that you can do is ask them to use their network, their employees, their customers, etc., to drive registrations or donations to your event. What you can do with that is come up with an agreement that says they'll be included on your website or your social media or whatever sort of sponsor benefits you're giving in exchange for a set number of donations or registrations that are directed from their network. You can see if your sponsor is driving registrations or donations to your race. You're going to add a source tracking code, get a shareable link, and that's what your sponsor can share with their network. Then you're going to be able to use race insights on your dashboard to track the number of registrations and donations that you get from that link. While it's a little bit of an unconventional form of sponsorship, it really does help you to build revenue through registrations while keeping valued sponsors connected during the challenging times.
Cool. So a lot of the things that traditional races usually do with sponsors can really still be done with virtual races. Again, revenue might be an issue this year, but a lot of the other benefits that a sponsor can bring my race are still there. So what are things that I can do to benefit the sponsor?
Swag is a really big part of virtual races. I think even more so than at an in-person race. If you can offer your sponsor a place in your swag mailer, that's a really high value for them because it's mail that participants are really looking forward to or excited to get. They're then associating your sponsor with a really happy memory. You do want to balance a little bit the value and weight of what you're shipping. Shipping can be expensive and fulfillment can be a little bit tricky, so you want to make sure that you have a plan for that before you offer this to sponsors. But a few of the things that we've seen sponsors ship, one is just a simple flyer with some information about their business. That's the most lightweight, easy thing to do. It is a little bit more likely to be thrown away and not really kept by participants though. The second option is to ship a coupon to get discounts on services or goods. That is also super lightweight. It doesn't really add to your shipping costs, but it's also something that participants might be more likely to keep because it has something of value for them. Really cool things that you can do are small products that are branded for the sponsor. We have a race that has done sponsor logos on dog leashes for a puppy-themed 5K. That's really cool. It is a little bit heavier, and so you do want to take into account the cost of the swag that you're printing and also the shipping when you're making an agreement about something like that. Demonstrating the value of direct mail to your sponsors is really relatively simple. It's basically just sharing your registration information and maybe a little bit of demographic information on your participants and reminding them that they were a part of a really memorable part of the race experience for them. If you did use a coupon in the mailer, that is another form of insight because they may be able to track how many people actually come in and use the coupon that they were given.
So kind of like with the source tracking code that you mentioned earlier, where I could see the effectiveness of my sponsor by seeing how many registrations they brought in, they could see the effectiveness of the race packet by seeing how many people use that coupon code.
Exactly. And I should mention with swag, if you want to take your direct mailing a step further, you can come up with some really premium swag that features your sponsor. You want to be tasteful about it, but face masks and face coverings in general are a bit of a hot commodity right now. If you can come up with a design that really combines form and function, your sponsors can quite literally see themselves all over people's faces. Jonathan Farrell had a great experience with a sponsor who did some customized swag for an event that he's working with. Jonathan?
Hey.
Jonathan, hi. Can you just tell us a little bit more about your experience with sponsors this year?
Sure thing, Johanna. So the Women's Distance Festival is a local race that I work very closely with, and they've been great at adapting to the current situation. When we decided to go virtual this year, our normal finish line sponsors and mile marker sponsors weren't really in the equation anymore. So we got creative. We wanted our runners to feel safe out there doing the virtual run while still feeling a great sense of community. We had this vision of all of our runners out there on virtual race day in their own neighborhoods, wearing face masks that would proudly display the race logo on them. They'd take a few selfies, they'd share them on social media, and we thought, what local business wouldn't want to be a part of this? So we tapped a few resources, we made a few phone calls, and we sold our first ever face mask sponsor. There's some great sponsorship opportunities out there. You just have to be a little creative and think outside of the box. Have some fun, think about how you can support your local community. Runners love to support their local communities, and local businesses love to support their runners. It's up to us to make the connection.
Thanks for stopping by and sharing with us today, Jonathan.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Hey, Johanna.
Yeah?
Yeah, did you just invite a guest onto the show during your guest appearance on the show?
I guess I did. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess it's fine. It's just, I like to try to pretend for Bob that what I do here is really complicated and can't be replicated by anyone else, and you made it look really easy just then, so I'm trying to figure out what I should do as far as job security is concerned.
What if we just call up Jonathan again, and this time you ask him the questions?
Yeah, that'll work. I mean, if Jonathan has the time, I don't want to bug him if he's busy, but you know what? Hang on just a second. Gonna do a little editing magic here, and what do you think of this?
Hey.
Hey, Jonathan, glad you can join us. This is Andrew, definitely not Johanna.
Sure thing.
Andrew?
So the Women's Distance Festival...
See, now it looks like I'm the one who interviewed Jonathan. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jonathan. I'm glad you could stop by.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you later.
Shouldn't you just have recorded yourself asking the questions and gotten rid of me completely?
Yeah, that probably would have made way more sense. But hey, as they say, hindsight's 20/20.
I think that solution didn't really require a lot of hindsight. It seemed pretty obvious to me.
Tomato, tomato. Anyway, for that specialized swag, any ideas on how to make that more valuable to the sponsor?
Like with any direct mail item, your metrics are really pretty simple. It's basically how many people you sent the item out to. But if you do have something that's really cool, a fun little swag item, you can also ask your participants to share photos of themselves wearing or using it to social media, and that can be really impressive to your sponsors.
So it's like a two birds with one stone situation, because not only is the sponsor getting to see that the runner enjoyed the gear, but also since that picture of them with the gear is being shared on social media, their friends are seeing it, that's giving the sponsors more visibility. I like that. Now I know we have a blog post out engaging sponsors during COVID-19, and that has all of these great ideas that you're talking about right now. And for everyone watching, if you're not yet subscribed to the blog, I'd consider doing that because we post updates on there all the time. Also, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube yet, please be sure to do that. That way you don't miss videos like this, webinars, how-tos, symposium presentations. We're constantly putting new information out there for everyone to look at, so please keep up to date if you can. But back to the blog, even though this has information on engaging sponsors during this COVID-19 situation, and I could read all of that there, Johanna, could you summarize some of the other benefits that I can give my sponsors to help them get visibility with my virtual event?
You can highlight your sponsors on your website in a variety of ways, from pretty simple to very prominent. You can include them right in the content of your website. You can also add them to your cover page. Really, even more than in an in-person event, virtual participants rely on your website for every piece of information, from the swag that they're getting to how to submit results. That makes it really easy to grab some pretty impressive metrics for your sponsors to show them the visibility they've gotten. If you really want to make those numbers super impressive, just make sure that you have high quality content on your website that gives your participants an incentive to come back time and time again. While we're talking about places that get more views during virtual events than in-person events, email marketing is super important for a virtual event, and it can be another place that your sponsors can get a lot of views. If you're using the RunSignup sponsor tool, you can actually automatically add your sponsors to the bottom of every single email. Those emails are all optimized for both mobile and desktop views. It's really easy to demonstrate to your sponsors the visibility that they're getting from your email marketing, information about the number of emails that you sent, and also how many of them were actually opened. If you want to have a little bit more fun with your sponsors than static email, website views, etc., RaceJoy is a really great way to do that. RaceJoy is our runner tracking app. It can be offered by certified timers. Virtual events that are using RaceJoy will either be run on a preloaded specific course or courses, or they can be run in RaceJoy Anywhere mode for participants anywhere. The same features that make RaceJoy really kind of fun and engaging for participants and spectators also really make it ideal for promoting your sponsors. You can use an in-app banner ad that every participant and every spectator will see when they open the app. You can add race content to your race FAQ through RaceJoy to highlight a sponsor there. For example, if you have a grocery store or a grocery store chain that is sponsoring your event, you might ask a question about where they can hydrate after they finish their race and include the grocery store as your go-to point for that. You can also reach spectators and participants with progress alerts. Those are messages that go out automatically when a runner passes a certain distance, and they can make those sponsored by a particular sponsor. The most fun and exciting way to use sponsors is to create custom audio cheers for participants on course. You don't want to overdo that and annoy the participants, but it might be one or two places along your course that you want to give a shout out, perhaps when the participant passes by the sponsor's building. I think a really great way to sell RaceJoy to your sponsors is by comparing them to kind of the virtual equivalent of having signage and a physical presence on race day. It's also really easy post-race to give them information about what kind of exposure they got through RaceJoy. You'll be able to pull information about the number of participants and spectators who use the app, the number of progress alerts that were served, and the number of clicks on each banner ad. Another way to engage with your sponsors in a way that feels like they're part of a real race experience is to create a virtual swag bag through sponsor offers. It's essentially the equivalent of whatever type of goodie bag you would give your runners on race morning or at the expo when they come to pick up their stuff. Sponsor offers lets your sponsors provide unique coupons or deals for your participants and have them be automatically sent to your participants before and or after the race. A couple of quick suggestions and best practices for sending out sponsor offers. You want to make the action really clear and easy. A coupon code or a unique link with an associated discount that can be used in an online store is ideal. If they are just driving traffic to their website, they might want to use a specific code or link that is unique to your race so that they can really track the ROI on the offer that they made. You want to focus on products and services that are really going to appeal to your audience, to active, engaged people. You want to make your offers time sensitive. Runners, like everyone, love to procrastinate, so if you don't give them a deadline, it's less likely that the sponsor offers will be taken advantage of. And finally, you want to make sure that you're using really appealing images and congratulatory language. These emails should feel like a celebration of their accomplishment and reward for the work that they've done. It's really important that your sponsors feel like they're part of the actual race day experience. And we have a couple more ways that you can do that. One that we've seen that's really cool and creative is by basically doing race day announcing, either as a race doing it and bringing your sponsor information in, or actually having a sponsor host it. How does that work virtually? If you have a race that's on a relatively short time frame, you could have someone up on Facebook Live or Instagram Live for 4 hours or whatever, announcing people as they finish either on RaceJoy or as they submit their results. If you have a little longer time range and that's not feasible, you can do the same sort of thing with a virtual award ceremony on race day. Just make sure that you're giving some shout outs to your sponsors throughout that engaging presentation. Another one is by using race day photos. Obviously, you can't have a race day photographer out taking all the pictures, but what you can do is really encourage all of your participants to be uploading photos of them as they're finishing to your Facebook. You can take those pictures down, upload them up to the free photo platform, and you can actually add a sponsor logo to each of those photos so that when people are coming in to take a look at the photos of their family and friends finishing, they'll see all of those sponsor logos.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Johanna, for stopping by and sharing that information with all of us.
You're welcome. It's always a great day when I get to talk about sponsors.
And in case anyone who's watching is new to RunSignup, definitely check out all of our sponsor features. You can set up different sponsor levels. Maybe different levels mean different things. They contributed more. You can easily add sponsors, invite sponsors. You can edit the way that sponsors are displayed on your page. You can edit the sponsor order. The visibility of a sponsor can be hidden if necessary. But as Johanna was talking about earlier, if a sponsor can't contribute this year, maybe don't hide them from the race. Maybe let them stick around and still get that visibility from your race, even though they can't help as much as they usually do, because they'll appreciate it. You're helping them out. It's a nice thing. Who doesn't want to be nice? Sponsor payments. You can use the sponsor platform to track the payment status of your sponsors. You can input information for offline payments. So if they sent you a check, you could put that into RunSignup so you have a record of it right there on your race website. And you can also send invoices right from within RunSignup so that your sponsors don't have to send a check. They can just go right into RunSignup and pay you by credit card. At the bottom of the blog post, we have a bunch of resources on sponsor setup. And at the end of this video, we'll have a couple links that pop up on the screen so you can click those and check out some of the resources that we have here on YouTube for sponsors. So good luck with your race and your sponsorships. Thank you all for watching.